Hi everyone, welcome to Stack Treasures. Today I want to do the first in a series of videos that looks at the most popular silver bullion coins on the market. We'll be taking a look at the designs of these coins as they've changed, security features, some key dates, and then where I think that coin fits in the role in the stacking community. This video is going to be primarily for those of us newer to stacking, of which I include myself, as I've only been doing this for a little over a year now. That being said, I hope that those who are more experienced with the stacking will find something useful in this video as well. In today's video, we'll be looking at the most popular bullion coin in the United States, arguably the most popular in the world, and that is the American Silver Eagle. I have a couple different variations for us to look at today that shows some of the changes that have occurred with the coin since its inception. The American Silver Eagle was first introduced in 1986. A new version is released every year. During its production, there have been two major designs, Type 1 and Type 2. Type 1 ran from 1986 to 2021. And Type 2 from 2021 to the current date. Here we are taking a look at one of the Type 1 designs. On the obverse, we see the iconic, beautiful Adolph Weinman design of Walking Liberty. This is going to be an image that many people are familiar with. It was originally seen on US half dollars between 1916 and 1947. When we flip to the reverse, we see a very traditional heraldic eagle design by John Mercanti. The eagle is holding an olive branch and arrows in its talons. This is a very prominent icon that's been seen in a lot of US imagery. On the reverse, we also see that it is 1 ounce of fine silver. Although the coin does not indicate the purity directly, it is a 3/9 pure coin. In addition, we see that it carries with it a denomination of $1, meaning that no matter what happens to the price of silver, this will always be recognized as US legal tender up to $1. Not that I would recommend spending it as $1, especially given that silver has been doing really well the past couple weeks and is close to $37 an ounce. Now, with the Type 1 design, one important date to be aware of is 1996. That's actually the lowest mint for these coins, and as such, if you're looking for that date, do not be surprised to have to pay a little more for it. Another important date to be aware of is 2008. The reason being, there was a very slight design change with these coins, and that design change involves the U in United. Here we just have a very simple U, but if we look at one of the later Type 1 years and compare it, you can see that they shifted over to a serif version of the U. Very minor design change. It's just something to be aware of. If you're one of those people who love to have a different copy of each variation out there, it's an important year to remember. That being said, that U does have some importance for collectors. The US Mint releases a lot of special versions of this coin. Proofs, reverse proofs, special privy marks, and burnished versions of the coin. On the burnished versions of the coin in 2008, some of them were accidentally struck using the 2007 reverse. And as such, you actually see the older U present on those coins, making them more desirable. Now, the big change with the Eagle occurred in 2021, and that was a shift over to the Type 2 design. Now, very important to note that you can actually find both Type 1 and Type 2 designs in the year 2021. The Type 2 is a little more common. About 15 million were minted, compared to about 13 million minted with the Type 1 design. The obverse remains largely unchanged, but with one minor inclusion, which is Adolph Weinman. The designer's initials have been added. When we flip to the reverse is where we see the big difference. Mercanti's design has been replaced with the Eagle in Flight by Emily Domstra. She wanted to show something she considered a little more natural. I think it was a great change. I love this design. The details on the feathers is fantastic, but you really can't go wrong. Both designs were beautiful. If you have a preference, just let your local coin dealer know, and hopefully they're able to provide you with either one of them. Now, the other key feature that happened in 2021 was the US Mint finally added a security feature to the coin. Where that security feature is found, we need to flip to the edge. On the edge of the Silver Eagles, you will see right here a missing reed. The position of this missing reed changes every year. The idea being that counterfeiters are obviously not going to know where that new position is for the upcoming year, and therefore going to have difficulty counterfeiting the coin. That being said, once the coin is released, everyone knows where the position is, and obviously there's nothing that's going to prevent counterfeiters from just counterfeiting the older versions as well. As such, you can find a lot of counterfeit versions of this coin on eBay or selling, so it's just something you need to be careful about. Now, where do I think the Silver Eagle fits in the stacking community and its role? It's been popular since the start. Some people only collect Silver Eagles. That's what they love, that's what they like, and they don't bother with having any of the other bullion coins. For me, the Silver Eagle, I have some, but I don't consider it the ideal government minted coin for stacking. The reason being, premiums on the Eagle are a bit higher than the other government coins. Where I'm located, I'm typically having to spend anywhere from $5 to $8 premium for an Eagle. If I compare that to a Maple Leaf or Britannia, I'm usually spending about $3 to $4 on the premium. Now, that being said, if I go back to sell the Silver Eagle, I will typically get a greater return. By most of the places here, that return is anywhere from $1 to even $2 over spot. That being said, the other government coins might be spot, maybe $1 over. If you do the math though, you can tell that the amount that I get back does not exceed the amount that I had to pay for the premium. As such, I think if you're really looking to stack for value, there are better options than the Silver Eagle. But ultimately, it's going to come down to preference. Where you're located, the stores might have a very strong preference for the Eagle, and it might not be useful to stack others. It's up to you, but by me, this is what I have found. That being said, it's such an iconic coin, it's such a well-loved coin. I think any serious stacker is going to want to have at least some within their stack, because they're always going to be popular and always in demand, and in that regard, you can't go wrong. That being said, I hope you've enjoyed the video, learned something new as well, and as always, happy stacking and happy collecting.